if you're doing something similar to what she's used to, her whole high school career, the team that she played on, they were a pressure defense kind of thing, pick up, and so it kind of fits in with what she likes and what her, that's her skills, that's her skill set. So it's not like we're introducing anything new to her, but she's going to get better at it. I think when we have her and Kaye out there together and with Azzi, I think that gives us a really, really good, defensive presence out there, especially full court.
Coach, which championship was it that a reporter first started asking if these ceremonies ever start getting old, these banner ceremonies?
I don't know. I don't know. I think the hard part's answering, which one is, why is this one different? Why are they all the same? Which one was the most important? Which one, was the toughest one? We have 18. We have 20-some Final Fours, and 12 of them turned out to be championships, and they all. As I've gotten to this age, I've started to think more about. They're all incredibly significant to the people who won them, the people on their teams. That's why on our banners now in Worth, in our practice facility, we actually have the names of the entire roster on the banner, so that you can remember that's kind of who it means the most to.
It's probably the same question a different way, but what goes through your mind when you see the curtain drop and another banner is revealed? I mean, there's no suspense. You know what it's going to look
Right.
like and all of that. But still, there's a certain finality to it. It's there. What goes through your mind when that happens, that moment?
Again, I got yelled at today because I wasn't watching the video. There was a video on and I wasn't watching it, and I keep thinking to myself, I was there, I saw it, I experienced it, I remember it. I think the banners, when they are unveiled, are again very symbolic. Obviously, they're part of history now. They're part of the legacy of UConn women's basketball. I think the fans really kind of gravitate towards wanting to be a part of that, the tradition, the ceremony. I was there the night they raised the banner. I have a lot of mixed emotions about the banners and the championships. It's hard to put into words exactly, what it means, other than, and sometimes when I look up, it's, and I've said this before, Don, maybe not so recently, but to put into perspective, what's happened. If you asked me, CD, or anybody associated with this, if you said, hey, if you could go in one of those time machines, and you could go back, would you like to relive all these and try to do it again? I would say no, because it's no way that this could ever happen the way it happened. And so it's such a unique thing that I was there. I was there for every one of them. I saw it. I felt it. I was part of it. And even for me, it's not that easy to see it, and be reminded of it, because it's just a lot. It really, really is a lot. like the video while they're introducing the starting lineups, and then we got to wait for the opening tip-off, and one more thing, and one more thing, and one more. What was I talking about today? Some crazy stuff that they've heard all. And meanwhile, I'm like, tip-off time. It's tip-off time. It's time to go. So yeah, it's a lot. It's a lot. To make a long story longer, it's a lot. It's a lot. It's a lot to deal with. Grateful, but it's a lot.
Coach, yesterday you talked about how some players would see less minutes and others get more. How do you feel the rotation was today?
I thought it was pretty good. I thought it was pretty good. We looked at it afterwards, and yeah, I thought it was not bad. I certainly didn't want Sarah and Azzi to play 38 minutes, so that was a given. So we wanted to make sure we took care of that, and I certainly wanted Allie to play more minutes than she played against Louisville, so we took care of that. So you're not always going to get it right, but I thought we got it pretty close to what I wanted it to be tonight.
There was a stretch where it looked like players were deciding which player was going to come up with a steal. With this team, is that something you're emphasizing? We have the depth now. We can jump the passing lane. If you get a foul, we're going to be okay.
Yeah, we're in a little bit of a dilemma in that we want to do that. We want to. I don't think you see a lot of teams press anymore, and one reason for that is how many open threes you give up, because it's just so hard to cover that much ground, So yeah, we had 15 steals, and that turned into 42 points off turnovers. So yeah, that's awesome, But we gave up 36 points on threes, So there's a lot of good that comes with all that. There's something that we got to address, because you don't want to be doing that, on a regular basis. But as I said earlier, Kaye, Kaye the Hecko, Azzi, Allie's a little sneakier, she's able to do some things. And when we have a smaller lineup out there, like we had during that one stretch with Sarah as our only non-small guard, I love that lineup. That's kind of the lineup that makes us who we are. And they help because they went with a bunch of guards. So, but that lineup gets a lot of turnovers for us.
Geno, really nice production from Sarah and Azzi through 2 games. Has it been pretty much what you expected from them these 2 games? And did you anticipate that life for them on the court without Paige out there with them would be, drastically different or a little bit of a challenge early on as they get used to a new setup, so to speak?
Yeah, obviously it's different. Quite different. Not having a player like Paige out there. So they've got to do more together, and they've got to do more on their own. And as we go along, the other players on the team will get better at finding them. And they'll get better at finding each other, and they'll get better at creating their own stuff. I thought that in the first half, I thought Azzi passed up, a couple of those pull-ups that, she and Paige are like automatic at those things. They're 2 of the best, I've ever coached. So we're getting similar shots to what we used to get. I like to see us obviously get, more than 19 threes, but again, taking away Paige, that takes away a lot of those opportunities, and we're going to have to find them as the season goes on.
What do you feel like has been the challenge for Sarah Williams through these first 2 games? What do you kind of hope to see from her going forward?
The challenge initially, I believe, is the pace of the game. You know, the physicality and the quickness that she has to deal with, both with her teammates and how we play. You know, our style of play. So she gets caught sometimes between being rushed, like you saw a couple times today, and then being a step slow. So there was a stretch there where she found kind of a little bit of a rhythm. I think it takes, you know, the question earlier was how Heckle fit in real easy. It's really, really much more difficult for bigger guys, you know. So I think just the change in just about everything is going to take a little bit of time, but I like the direction that we're going with her. I need to help her a little bit more. You know, stay calm a little bit more.
It going back to Sarah and Azzi, kind of felt like they took over the game at the end of that first half. Is that something that you told them in the huddle, like, hey, you know, go do your thing, or is that just them being them?
Yeah, I would say that whenever we're drawing up a play in the huddle, one of the first two words out of my mouth is either Azzi or Sarah. So they're going to be involved one way or another in what we're doing. A lot of times it's both, but we also think that those two not only can get the opportunities that they get, but they draw so much attention that I think, you know, we can get other stuff. But I hope that based on these first two games, that's kind of the way that I want it to go, you know, for the rest of the season. If they can score, you know, 21 and 23 points and it's a point a minute, I think that's pretty good for right now.
Geno, back to the press real quick. You say that it's not done a lot, kind of a lost art now. It seemed like a classic case today, I don't know if you agree, that your press turned your offense that was struggling maybe to hit a couple of open shots early, got the pace going and got them some easy, good looks. Would you agree and talk about it?
Yeah. As I said, pressure is something that you have to use, and you have to be careful how you use it so you don't expose yourself to you know, bad stuff down the other end. And we have to find that balance. But when it's working and when it's done right, there's a lot of turnovers that happen in the middle of the floor that turn into quick buckets or easy threes, you know, in transition. Again, I don't know that it's something that you can be great at. It's funny with a lot of this stuff. You can't just do it once or twice and expect to be good at it. And I don't know that you can do it for 40 minutes against a good team and get away with it. So it's finding, you know, it's like blitz, you know. You got to find the right time to do it when it makes the most sense and hope that you're successful more times than you're not.
How much did you recruit Kaye out of high school? You mentioned that what she did today was a lot of what she did in high school, and then just what was different when she was in the portal?
I thought when she was in high school, she was what you see out there now, except a little more raw, a little more wilder, you know, just flying up and down the floor, and not a whole lot of thought about whether it was going to end up good or bad. You know, just a race car driver who just liked to drive fast. And I'm sure if she was a race car driver, whoever she raced cars for would have to have a ton of cars in their garage because that's how she used to play. And it would fluctuate. She's really, really good. You know, I really want her on the team. My gosh, she's out of control. We'll never get her under control. So it just kept going back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. I think watching her play, playing against her, I just thought the things that she's really good at can help us. The other stuff, I think we can work with, you know. So, yeah, I don't think she's changed that much, but the changes she has made are for the better. She's a way better offensive player than I thought she was. You know, she loves that pull-up. You know, she loves that.
That was the first day in 960 days that Yana got to play a basketball game after her injury. It's just, what's it like seeing her stay committed to basketball, stay committed to her recoveries, to continue after, you know.
Who's that, Yana?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. You know, every single day in practice, there isn't anybody that works harder, that comes ready to go, you know, puts a lot of herself into it. It's just, she's missed so much basketball. I mean, you think about it, she's been here, this is her 4th year here, you know, and she's probably played the equivalent of half a season or one season. So I admire her because of how hard she works and how much time she puts in, and she's starting to find a little more of a role for herself, you know. I'm giving her an opportunity in practice to do that. You know, who knows where this is going to go, you know. The great thing about our big guys is, you know, I was trying to explain to them, this is why big guys are allowed to play basketball, okay? It's not a given that they should be playing basketball, but they are allowed to play basketball under certain circumstances, okay? One, they have to be pretty good rebounders, okay? Otherwise, what's the point, okay? So they have to be pretty good rebounders. 2, they got to be pretty good at protecting the basket, right? Otherwise, what's the difference if you have a 5'8" guy in there or a 6'4" guy in there? So you got to protect the basket. So you got to rebound, you got to protect the basket, and you got to offensive rebound at the other end. Give us second shots, third shots, fourth shots. And if you can do other stuff, that's a bonus. That's a bonus. So our big guys are kind of, you know, like a mixed bag. They all have a little bit of this and a little bit of that, and a little, you know. And so every day, you know, we're trying to find which one in their bag of tricks we need that day. And I'm not looking forward to that, to be honest with you. That's excruciating, to use a Coach Hurley word. Excruciating. I love that word.
Thanks. Coach, can you talk a little bit about the uniforms? I mean, those were some pretty fancy uniforms with the gold and so forth on them.
Oh, the warm-ups?
Yeah.
I didn't get a great look at them, but I know that Nike always comes up with some really cool stuff for us during big events, you know, and so they had all the glitz and glamour and all the storytelling of, you know, 12 and, you know, the gold and whatever else they put writing on there. I don't, you know. And now they have whatever happened to everybody wearing the same pair of shoes on the team. That's going out the window. So yeah, they look pretty cool, and the kids like them, and I'm sure they look great on TV. That's kind of what we do now. You know, we have to make sure that we're, you know, media worthy. You know, you guys go to a football game yesterday? Pretty cool, huh? Yeah. Yeah. The only time I've ever seen it like that was the Michigan game, and it was mostly Michigan. And yesterday that was Connecticut. That was pretty cool. That was really cool. Really cool.